Welcome to Therapeutic Intentions Podcast. My name is Stephanie Dingbaum. I am a mental health therapist, and I am so passionate about all things health and wellness, personal development, and empowering others to be their most authentic and best versions of themselves. Here at Therapeutic Intentions, we are all about having intentional and authentic conversations on whole body health, healing practices, mindset, and ways to uplevel your life so you can truly be the best version of you. If you are a woman, a mom, hope to someday be a mom, a healer, or just in a place where you want to start prioritizing yourself and your health, then this podcast is for you. I am so glad you're here. If you're ready, let's get to it. Welcome back to Therapeutic Intentions Podcast. Welcome. Thank you for being here today. I'm so excited to be recording another solo episode for you guys today. I don't really have any major topics planned, but I decided it's time I give you guys a little bit of an update on my life. And I just thought, what better way to do it than on the podcast? You know, I was talking to a fellow podcaster not too long ago, and it was so nice to talk to someone who can totally relate to how great it feels having your own podcast. And she said something that just hit home with me. She's like, it feels like you're recording your own little diary, your own little journal. And I'm like, that is what it feels like. I love it. What a great way of explaining it to people. And so, yeah, today I'm coming on here. I want to share an update with you guys about my life, professionally, personally, and otherwise. I'm sitting here with my hot apple cider. And for those of you that don't know, I live in Eastern Iowa. It is fall here officially. It's brisk outside, and there is just, I don't like fall. I guess that's a fun fact that you probably wouldn't know about me. I'm a summer girl through and through. Love my 80s and 90s. Love the humidity. Love when I can go outside in shorts, skirts, dresses, no shoes, and not need a coat or a sweatshirt. Like, that's my kind of weather. And so it's been cold here, and I'm not a fan. But I will say, sitting here in my office, I got my podcast stuff all set up. I've got my hot mug of apple cider, and it's a vibe. I'm not going to lie, for a Sunday afternoon, it's a vibe. So loving this. Gosh, I don't even really know where to start. But first thing that I do want to share is, so 3 weeks ago, or maybe 4 weeks ago now, within the last month, I started working with a business coach, Julia Martin. If you don't know her, give her a follow on Instagram. She is amazing. I've been following her, listening to her podcast, supporting her from afar now since 2020, I think, when the pandemic hit. And oh my gosh, I just love her podcast. She speaks directly to me. And I just always thought, oh, how much of a dream come true would it be to be able to work with her, to be able to pick her brain, get insights from her. So last December, when me and my girlfriends got together and made our vision boards, I put her on my vision board hoping to manifest that. And oh my gosh, the offer came to me, and you guys, I couldn't pass it up. I mean, it was just too good to be true. So here we are. I am in Julia Martin's Dream Your Biz coaching program with her. She's helping me with the business, with all things expanding the business, helping me to become a life coach and add other revenue streams to the business, which has always been a goal of mine. But truth be told, I did not think it would happen this quickly. I mean, I've only been in business for a year. I thought for sure, 3 to 5 years down the road, I'd add other revenue streams to the business. But no, we're doing it now. Going into year 2, we are going to be adding other revenue streams to the business. And I'm just so excited. It's been, like I said, it's been a dream come true getting to work with her. 1, because I manifested it. And 2, because it just feels so soul aligned, and that's just the best feeling ever. So one of the outcomes of that course is that at the end of the 12-week course, I will be a mindset and manifestation coach, and I will be offering coaching for female entrepreneurs who are looking to up-level their business, up-level their life, manifest their goals and dreams through their business. And so I'm in the works of creating this program, this offer, and it's just so exciting because, like I said, I didn't think I was going to get into this soon in the business, but it just feels so right and aligned and meant to be. And having Julia's support and help through her coaching program, it's just so helpful. I feel like everything's being handed to me on a silver platter, and then I'm personalizing it to my business goals and dreams and bringing it to life. And it just feels so freaking exciting. I just feel like this is what I'm meant to be doing. This is what going into 2025 is meant to be, a step up in the business. It's meant to be growth. It's meant to be adding more. I mean, my 2024 word of the year was creation, and I'm still creating here in Q4, and it's just so amazing. It just feels so fulfilling on so many levels. So that's really exciting. So if you are a female entrepreneur and you're listening to this and you struggle with things like imposter syndrome or just negative thinking in general, feeling like your negative thoughts just drag you down so easily. I mean, if you don't think that's impacting your business, it is, and it's dragging your business down as well. And if you recognize that, then I would love to work with you. I feel that so many of us female entrepreneurs don't always know in the beginning that we have these limiting beliefs holding us back. And when I realized that, when I worked through my own limiting beliefs, it was a game changer for me and for my business. And now it's funny because when I'm around other entrepreneurs and I recognize some of them having their own limiting beliefs that they clearly have not worked through, it's so hard for me to bite my tongue because I recognize it. It's like those trigger words. I recognize it so quickly. And I have a hard time not saying anything because it's like, oh, you should really work through that. And it's really not that difficult. I mean, it's a pretty easy process to overcome these limiting beliefs and rewrite these limiting beliefs so that they're not holding you back, so that they're not dragging your business down. I mean, they're easy to work through, trust me. And if this is something you feel you need support on, or even if you just feel like your anxiety gets in your way and you have limiting beliefs around that, I can work with you on that as well, on the coaching side of things. So yeah, if any of this resonates with you, DM me. Don't be afraid to reach out to me. I'd love to hear from you. And once I have the program up and running, we can talk about whether I'd be a good fit for you or not. So yeah. Another update, and I guess the main update that I want to share with you guys, is my husband and I have been going through the adoption process for all of 2024. I think we started at the beginning of 2024. And just in the last month, we jumped through our final hoop of the adoption process. And so what this means is now we just sit and wait some more. So we wait for the call that there are birth parents who chose us or a baby waiting for us in the hospital. So this is very exciting. This process has truly taken the majority of 2024. And while that may seem like a lengthy process to some of you, to me, it feels like it's flown by. I mean, truly, I feel like we just started this process yesterday. I mean, I'll be honest, while it was a very lengthy process that we started back in January of this year, now that we jumped through our final hoop, it just feels like it went so fast for us. Through all of that, we've continued to try to conceive naturally. I still feel like it's in the cards, and that's not like my hopeful, naive self saying that. That's my intuition talking, and my intuition has just been so strong lately. It's not even funny. I just know it's going to happen for us naturally as well. But just to be able to say that we are now in that part of the adoption process where we could get a baby tomorrow. I mean, I know it could happen next week, but I also know it could happen 2 years from now. But just the fact that we're at that point feels so relieving. It feels like we can take a breath a little bit. We can relax a little bit. I know that to some, it may be like, well, just more waiting, and you've been through so much waiting. And yes, you're not wrong, but my whole mindset on this journey to becoming a mother has just completely transformed and changed. And I guess before I really get into the nuts and bolts of this conversation, I should tell you, if anyone listening to this is going through the fertility journey yourself or has gone through a rough fertility journey, this conversation, this update may be a little bit of a trigger for you. My mindset has significantly changed and grown as a result of my journey. And in today's episode, I'm going to be completely honest and transparent about that. But I know it may not sit well for all of you, depending where you're at in your own journey. And that's okay. It's okay. We can have different opinions. We can have different outlooks, different views on this. But I'm so grateful that my view has changed because I feel so much relief since shifting my mindset. And so I'm saying all of this as a trigger warning that if you feel like you mentally are not ready to hear some of this, that's okay. You might want to turn the episode off now if you think it may trigger you in any way, shape, or form. That's not my purpose in today's episode. But with that being said, the podcast is my place to tell all, to not hold back, and to truly speak my truth. And that's part of my soul's mission in doing this. So just take care of you. If this is too hard for you to listen to, I completely respect that because I've been there in the 6 years that we've been going through this. I've been there. I have been a part of conversations with friends in person or in group chats or whatever it may be, where I just have to sometimes disengage because, there's triggers and it's a part of this journey. And I just think instead of speaking out sometimes, instead of saying like, this is hard for me to hear, it's just easier to sometimes disengage and get out of that chat or walk away from that conversation if you need to. And there's nothing wrong with that. I'm telling you, there's nothing wrong with that. That's called self-care. And we have to do that sometimes.
If you are short or petite in any way, then listen up. This ad is for you. Did you know that nearly half of all women in the US are 5'4" or under, therefore considered petite? Being petite should not mean compromising on your style. For years, I shopped in the children's section at certain stores just to be able to find clothes that fit me somewhat decently without needing to be hemmed or altered. Even when I did shop in the adult section, it was always difficult to find clothes that came in extra small or even worse, extra, extra small. The only way to find petite clothes was for me to order online. But that meant not being able to try them on or know if they fit correctly or not. When I finally did find some loyal companies that actually sold my sizes, I still almost always needed alterations to be done. Either the arms were too long, the pants were too long, or the waist was still wider than I'd like. I felt like I was not asking for too much to be able to have clothes that fit me to a T without needing to spend extra money getting clothes altered. Due to the poor fit in clothes, I had grown to hate shopping. Seriously, you guys, I never looked forward to it, especially knowing I wasn't going to find something that fit me just right. This frustration led me to researching style boxes in hopes that maybe, just maybe, I could find a style box to accommodate my petite size. Initially, I hit dead end after dead end. Either they didn't offer petite options or they didn't go down to extra, extra small in sizes, which is what I needed. All my prayers were answered one day when I stumbled upon a clothes subscription box called Short Story. Short Story's mission is to help petite women dress with total confidence. They acknowledge that fashion has never been petite friendly, and they are completely rewriting the rules. Amazing, right? They have clothes for petites of all sizes, all heights, and all shapes. Even better, they get their inspiration directly from their buyers, people like you and me who subscribe to them. They literally create and design their clothing lines using our specific feedback. How freaking amazing is that, you guys? There's so much I love about Short Story, but I'll keep it short and sweet so you can get back to the show. First things first, you can order boxes monthly, bi-monthly, every 3 months. You can personalize it to your own specific shopping needs, which is awesome. No more ordering online, going into stores. I get my box monthly and it always comes with 7 items. I would say on average, I keep anywhere from 4 to 6 of the items depending on the month. And another added benefit, when I started, I took their styling quiz and gave them my specific measurements for my entire body. We're talking bust, waist, height, arm length, etc., which means no more alterations. Everything fits my arms, my legs, all of it. It's like, I don't know, I feel like I have my own personal stylist. It makes me feel like a freaking rock star. And after each box, I'm able to give my stylist feedback on the items she sent and requests that I have for future boxes. So I'm always getting my fashion needs met depending on what time of year we're in and what I'm looking for and what events I might have coming up. I am always satisfied too, because it's pretty rare for my request to not be granted, not gonna lie. Finally, when you fill out your styling quiz in the beginning, you get to tell them your price point, what you can and can't afford, what style you prefer, what you like, what you don't like when it comes to clothing, and you can give them access to your Pinterest style board, which, truth be told, best thing I ever did for myself. I literally have manifested my Pinterest style board in real life, you guys, because they look at it each month, and if I pin new items to it, they'll try and send me items that I've pinned or close to it. Talk about an added bonus. It's just amazing. So seriously, I feel like I've bragged enough. I'm sure you get the point by now. Short Story is for petites of all ages, all sizes. If you are 5'4" and under, this is the subscription box for you. No more shopping in stores. Let your clothes come directly to you. Hopefully, this will then save you time. I know we all need more of that, and money in the long run. I wouldn't be recommending a company that I myself don't strongly support and believe in personally. I have been a loyal subscriber of Short Story for over 6 years now, and I am so proud of it. Be honest. If you are short or petite like me, wouldn't you love to show up at professional events or family gatherings feeling confident in what you're wearing, knowing that it came tailored to your specific fashion needs? If you're intrigued at all, go into my show notes for today's episode and use the referral link that I put in there. This link will waive your $25 styling fee for your first box. If you are anything like me and you're ready to up-level your style, show up as that next level version of yourself, and feel like $1,000,000, then subscribe to Short Story today. I promise you will not regret it. All links will be in my show notes for today's episode.
Okay, so I really want to get into the nuts and bolts of this because I have a lot I want to say, and I really don't want to make this a lengthy episode today. But the reason I feel like I can say that it feels like this journey, this adoption journey has gone so fast is because of the word surrender. When I say surrender, I mean not worrying about the how of what you desire, not worrying about how you're going to make it happen, not worrying about how it's going to come to you. I can truly say that for a decent part of 2024, I truly learned to embrace surrender. And I'm saying it like surrender is its own separate entity for me. Like I'm saying it like surrender is a person sitting here talking with you and I today. Because that's kind of how I view it. And I had to do that because it truly is like a person that I've had to get to know. I've had to get comfortable with surrendering. I've had to be comfortable being in a room with that feeling. And that's not something I always had. So this has been a mindset that I feel like I jumped into 2024 with the goal of I want to master being able to surrender to this journey. Initially in 2024, I jumped into all of these appointments. You know, I was doing therapy, acupuncture, my integrative health practitioner, Reiki. There's craniosacral therapy, like all the things, right? And I realized that I had that, me going to all those appointments, me scheduling all of those appointments was my way of trying to gain control in a situation where I had no control. And so going into fall season, the end of the summer, I decided I had to cut these appointments out because I had to release that control. That is a really hard decision to make. But when I did make that decision, it felt like freedom. And I needed that for myself. So a lot of what my mindset shift can be attributed to is because of this book that I was reading at the end of the summer called Fertile Ground by Spencer Brizard. If you guys do not know Spencer Brizard, she is a podcaster, an author, a coach, mindset. She's a fertility mindset coach. She does this mind-body approach to getting pregnant. And I've not had the opportunity to do her coaching program, but from my research and what I read in her book, it is an amazing program. I highly recommend looking into it if you are going through the fertility journey. She just does such amazing things, you guys. And so, yeah, I read this book, Fertile Ground. In case you are watching, I'll show it to you. Fertile Ground is also a podcast. So the Fertile Ground podcast by Spencer Brizard is also an amazing listen. Highly recommend. So many times she just really speaks to my soul. So I finished reading this book back in August. The best thing I could have done for myself. I realized from reading this book that I had inadvertently kind of let myself become a victim through this season of waiting in the fertility journey. And it's funny because as a therapist, I am so hyper aware of when clients put themselves in that victim mindset. And so I really, I don't ever want to view myself as a victim because I just truly believe that you level down when you go into that mindset. And we're not victims to our circumstances. I truly believe that everything happens for our greater good. And if you can choose that mindset, then you're purposefully choosing to go against that victim mindset. It's like that hero mindset instead. What I learned through this book is that I have a choice through this season of waiting. I could choose to be a victim to my circumstances, thinking things like, for instance, now that we're done with the adoption hoops, we've jumped through all the hoops, and now we're at that point where we wait for a call. If I wanted to be a victim right now, I could think thoughts like, oh, great, more waiting, as if we haven't waited long enough. Or why me? Why do we have to go through yet more waiting? Or why us? Why does this keep happening to us? Why can't we catch a break? All of those are victim mindset thoughts. Or if I didn't want to be a victim, I could choose to look at things where I have control in the situation. And I could choose an empowering way of looking at things. And I could choose an abundance mindset instead. So an example of those thoughts could be like, while waiting, I am going to choose to focus on the good. All the good that I have in my life, I'm going to focus on that. I'm going to focus on the contentment I have in my life. I'm going to live my life to the fullest through this journey or chapter that we're in. I'm going to focus on all the abundance that we currently have in our lives. And I have realized that through making that mental shift, focusing on the abundance versus focusing on the lack, that is a freaking game changer. I mean, truly, when I trained my brain to focus solely on the abundance, and I did it through the fertility journey, but it has boiled over into other areas of my life, like in the business, for instance. There's no room for lack. There's plenty of clients out there. I'll find them. There's plenty of money out there. I'll find it. I mean, there's no room for thinking in terms of lack. But specifically in the fertility and adoption process, whenever I am more focused on the abundance in our life, the more abundance that comes our way. I mean, no joke, you guys. That's no joke. It's true. It's the law of attraction at work. What you focus on is what you're likely to attract into your life. So, ask yourself, which one of those mindsets do you feel will lead to better overall feelings, better mindset, better attitude? Because I am here to tell you that when I choose to focus on contentment, when I choose to focus on the abundance in my life, I feel better, my mindset is better, and my attitude is better. So it's like a no-brainer. If I want to feel better, I need to look at the abundance in my life. So the book really helped with that in a big way, which I'm really grateful for. While I make it sound like it was just such an easy shift from lack mindset or victim mindset to abundance mindset, obviously I know that it's not that easy. I mean, this was not something that just shifted overnight for me, you guys. And I have my days where I still need to work on it. But I will say for the most part, I control my thoughts and I don't let that lack or victim mindset control me. I don't let it come into the picture anymore. So because of reading this book, I kind of experienced this breakthrough. As I was reading the book, I had all of these different light bulb moments. And one of the biggest takeaways that I got was I needed to learn to make peace with uncertainty in my life. Like I needed to learn to make peace with it. Because here's the thing, and this is something that Spencer preaches in this book, is uncertainty is a part of life. We can't escape it, okay? It's a part of life in almost every area of life. There is uncertainty everywhere you go. I don't care if you're going through a journey of switching jobs, of looking for a new job, of growing your family, of becoming empty nesters, making a career shift, going into college. Like, I don't care what chapter of your life you are in, uncertainty is a part of it. So you can't avoid it. And it seems like so many times, instead of embracing uncertainty, we either numb ourselves or try to push away from it or try to distract ourselves or try to gain control over it. And none of that works. I mean, none of that brings peace to your life. None of that fixes the situation. None of it brings certainty to you. So I needed to learn to make peace with uncertainty. And the way I went about that was through lots of journaling, lots of meditation, and improving my self-talk. And I can confidently say I finally did. I made peace with uncertainty. And best thing I ever did for myself. I was part of this breakthrough that I experienced a few weeks ago. My husband and I were driving up to, it was our annual trip, driving up to Apple Fest in Gays Mills, Wisconsin. And I brought this book with me because I wanted to talk to him about some of the takeaways that I gained from it since I had finished it the week before. And I wanted to have this difficult conversation with him because it was part of one of the assignments, so to speak, in the book was having this conversation with your spouse. And so on the way up there, I decided to break the ice and have this conversation with him. I knew it was going to be easier for him to have this conversation than it was for me. This was a conversation that for months and months and months, I could not bring myself to say. I could not bring myself to say these words. I was too afraid of speaking them out loud. I couldn't say them without breaking out into tears. This was something I never thought I would truly be able to say. And so anyways, this conversation that I finally had with him was, I said to him, I need you to know that even though I still desire a baby, I finally feel that I came to the realization that I will be okay. if it doesn't happen for us. I will be okay if we're just a family of 2 and our dog. And I was able to say, I am content with our life as it is. And even though I would absolutely love for a baby to be a part of our family or just children in general, it's also okay if they aren't. That was a really hard thing to say. And also, it was so relieving to finally speak those words out loud. I mean, I'm not kidding. I never thought I'd be able to say those things. And in the past, when I had tried, I was a ball of tears. I was a mess. I mean, I was really afraid of putting that out there. And I mean, I even once said in the past to Mitch, my husband, I once told him that if this didn't happen for us, I don't know, that I like legit had thoughts of, yeah, I might need to be in a mental hospital. Like, I just don't know. This desire to be a mother and a parent with him is something that is so deeply ingrained in me that I didn't know if I could find contentment without having that role be a part of my life. But like I said, this book changed my whole mindset, you guys. And having that conversation with Mitch, admitting to him that I will be content whether this happens for us or not, that, like, a relief washed over my body. I mean, that communicates to me full acceptance. And I think a big part of the reason that I can say this is because I truly am content with our life. I'm not just saying that. I'm speaking the truth. I love my marriage. I could not be happier with my husband. He's truly amazing. I mean, it's not sunshine and rainbows all the time. Let's be honest. Marriage can be hard, but I do feel I won the jackpot with him. He supports my business. He helps me with the business. He is my number one cheerleader with the business. And the business in general is so fulfilling. The podcast, we're working on getting the podcast monetized. The private practice, I love what I do. I love my clientele. They are amazing. And now I'm starting my coaching business on top of that. And that feels equally as fulfilling. My life is fulfilling. I have nothing that I mean, would I love a baby? Yes. And I'm happy as I am. I'm happy in my life. I'm happy in my marriage, whether a baby comes or not. I just think, again, if you did not have a difficult fertility journey, this may not resonate with you, but to be able to say that was a game changer. So I want to explain something to you that the book goes into. And this is a concept that deeply resonated with me. There is a scientific law called the law of detachment. And what this law states is the ability, it's what it comes down to ultimately is just the ability to release the attachment to your desire. And me being able to have that difficult conversation with Mitch, ultimately, that needed to happen in order to detach from my desire. This needed to happen to me on such a deep level because I truly was like suffocating that desire. I have this desire to have a baby, right? If you are going through your own journey, you definitely can relate to this. And that desire, it becomes like a part of you. It's like this third arm that you always had, but you never realized you had it. And you just recently found it. And it was like, oh shit, I have this third arm. How crazy. That's what this desire was for me. And this desire, I was like suffocating it to death. And I needed to set that desire free. I needed to release from that desire. And this conversation and some of the journaling that I did and some of the meditating that I did, that helped me to release from that. So releasing my grip from that desire to have a baby and learning to be okay with uncertainty, that needed to happen. And my gosh, uncertainty is the name of the game in the fertility world. I mean, for real. And one reminder I want to give you is that if you are constantly fighting uncertainty, you are not going to win. Uncertainty will always come out ahead. It will. So release your grip. Finally being able to admit to myself that I would be okay whether this happened or not. It was like an energetic shift, you guys. I mean, I truly detached from that a little bit and separated myself from it, and finally was able to tell myself, like, it's okay. You know what? Uncertainty, I can be around uncertainty. Do I like her? No. I could take her or leave her, but I can be around her. That's kind of the place I needed to get to. I needed to be able to say that. I needed to be able to be in a room with uncertainty, not feel uncomfortable, versus fighting it, versus trying to gain control. I mean, that doesn't work. It doesn't. So if any of what I'm saying resonates with you, or like I said, if you're going through your own fertility journey right now, I want to give you some tips. Some tips that I wish had been shared with me early on. It probably would have saved me a shit ton of heartache and a shit ton of tears. And these all come from my own lived experience, but also some of them come from this book, because this book truly changed my whole mindset around fertility and the whole journey. Just pick yourself a copy of this book up. Like, you will not regret it. One tip I want to give you. So there was a part in this book, and I'm going to quote it because the author, Spencer Brizard, she says it best, and I'm not going to be able to say it better than she does. Become familiar with what it's like to accept the discomfort of not knowing. I'm going to say that again for the people in the back. Become familiar with what it's like to accept the discomfort of not knowing. Woofda. In order to become familiar with discomfort, in order to be able to accept discomfort, I had to tell myself something along the lines of, I'm very uncomfortable with not knowing the outcome or the timeline of us having a baby, and that's okay. It's okay that I'm uncomfortable. This is not a bad thing. It does not have to be a bad thing. I can accept this feeling of discomfort. In fact, I can embrace it. That's what my self-talk had to become. I have learned to embrace discomfort. It's funny because embracing discomfort was a motto that I wrote on a sticky note back when I started at the school. My first year in becoming a school social worker, I had decided embracing discomfort was my motto for that year. And it's not easy to embrace discomfort. It is not easy. But I am constantly preaching to my husband that discomfort equals growth. And I mean, if I look back over these 6 years of this fertility journey, yeah, growth is the name of the game. Okay, so embrace the discomfort. Tell yourself that it doesn't have to be a bad thing. You don't have to be uncomfortable with it. Learn to accept it, embrace it. It's okay. You don't have to know the timeline. You don't have to know the outcome of everything. I know you think you do, but trust me, you don't. So that's one tip I want to give you. Another thing I want to share is I had to learn to release control. If you're a control freak like me, raise your hand. I don't care where you're at. I don't care if you're walking your dog or you're in your car or you're at work. Like, raise your hand if you're a control freak like me. I would say I'm a recovering control freak. But I didn't realize until reading this book that, like I said earlier, those constant cycle of appointments I was scheduling into my month was my way of trying to gain control in a situation where I felt I had no control. I mean, I listed them earlier. I was scheduling acupuncture bi-weekly. I was doing cranial sacral therapy once a month. I was doing massages. I was doing monthly Reiki. I was doing my monthly functional medicine appointments. I'm sure there's more that I'm missing, but I was doing all of these appointments. From week to week, I was running here and running there. And this was even amidst like trying to build my own therapy private practice, and it was getting out of control. And then when I decided one by one, I decided to start canceling these and chose to be done with them. It was like my mind and body released an energy I was holding on to. It truly felt like freedom. I needed that. I needed that release. I needed to let go of the control. And I finally realized that overbooking myself was not going to bring us a baby any sooner. In fact, it was actually burning me out. All of the running around was. Between my own appointments and my appointments for my own clients in my practice, it was burning me out. It really wasn't helping me feel any better. Maybe short term it was. I mean, you can't, if you've ever done an acupuncture, I always feel so great after acupuncture. It's such a release for me. I love it. But if I was going truly because I just enjoy it and I feel like it's helpful, then that's one thing. But I was going religiously because if I do this religiously, it's going to bring me a baby. It's going to help me get pregnant sooner. But it was just my way of trying to gain control. And that freedom, once I canceled everything, that freedom felt amazing. The only thing I didn't cancel was my appointments with my integrative practitioner. But I mean, I need those because she is supporting me in this journey and keeping my hormones balanced. So I need those. But maybe ask yourself, is there anything you're doing in your life where you have the best of intentions, but maybe you're doing it as a way of gaining control, and maybe you need to release that control? A final tip that I want to share with you is I had to learn to love on my body a little more. We tend to shame our bodies when it doesn't give us what we want, especially when you're going through the fertility journey. Every month that your period comes again, or every month that you get a negative pregnancy test, our go-to seems to be shaming on our bodies. It didn't give us what we want. I had to put a stop to that. I slowly incorporated more loving daily practices. And that was the best thing I could have ever done for myself. I did recognize that the way I was talking to my body each month needed to change. So I changed that as well. I did more journaling on it. I got back into doing my daily affirmations of love and gratitude for my body. And all of that really helped. And then the last thing that I'll say about this is I had to celebrate the current abundance in my life instead of focusing on the areas of lack. I know I mentioned that earlier, but that one is huge, you guys. It is a mental shift. And every time you catch yourself focusing on you being a victim or focusing on the lack in your life, the lack of babies, the lack of children, stop yourself right there and shift it back to what is in my life around abundance? What do I have in my life that's bringing abundance to me? For instance, my marriage, the friends in my life, my girl tribe. God, I have amazing girlfriends. Shift your focus in that moment. That's what you need to do. So the bottom line is I surrendered, both through the fertility journey and in the adoption journey. The reason it went so fast through the adoption journey this year is because I never once worried about the how. I knew we would get here at some point, but I never worried about it. I just kept trying naturally, kept working on my health and wellness in the meantime. And before you know it, it's like we got the email from the adoption specialist that, okay, you guys are good to go. We'll let you know when there's a baby for you. Or if a birth parent chooses you, we'll give you a call. And it went fast because I never worried. When you choose to surrender, regardless of what your journey is, when you choose to surrender, you let go of the control, you let go of worrying about the how, it's going to feel like peace. It's going to feel like abundance. It's going to feel like contentment. And I'm here to tell you, I have no complaints. And you can feel this way too. This is an unpopular opinion, but it's a choice. You have a choice. You are either choosing to be a victim or you're choosing to feel empowered. You're choosing to focus on abundance. Our thoughts always come down to it's a choice. I understand it's not an easy one, but it's one that your future you will thank you for making. All right, you guys. That is all I have for today. That's the update on my life, on what we've been going through, both personally and professionally. And yeah, it feels good to get this shared with you guys. I have no doubt that somebody out there needed to hear this. It's kind of like when I read Fertile Ground, it was like, wow, the timing could not have been more perfect. And if anything that I said today resonates with you, seriously, go buy this book. I'll put it in the show notes. You will not regret it. It was a game changer in my life. And that, my only regret is I wish this book would have been around back in year 1. That's my only regret. But I have no control over that either. So not going to focus on that. All right, you guys, if anything that I said today hit home for you, please don't hesitate to reach out to me. I'd love to hear from you. I'd love to hear what resonated with you, what hit you right in the feels, or if you want to have more conversation on this topic, I'm open to doing that as well. Or if you know someone in your life who's maybe going through their own fertility journey, if you think they'd be open to hearing this, share it with them. But just understand that everybody's in a different place in that journey. And just because I'm here and I'm open to talking about it doesn't mean everybody is. And that's okay. You get there when you get there. It's all about divine timing. There's nothing wrong with that. All right. Thank you guys for tuning in. I hope you have a great rest of your week. I look forward to hearing from you. And until next week, I'll talk to you later. Thank you so much for listening to us. It means so much to me. If there were any aha moments or anything that really resonated with you on today's episode, then please take a minute and share it on your social media and tag me so I can personally thank you. Also, if you could, please rate and review the podcast as it is new, and that really helps to get the word out there more and reach even more listeners. I'll catch you on the next episode.